Hi everyone. I'm Claire from Susan's family. Today I'll teach you how to make the Fresh Fruit Moments carry set, the peach version. This bag is designed in the shape of a fruit. The small fruit ornament is exquisitely and realistically shaped, with bright and eye-catching colors, and is lively and cute. The small bag and ornament can be used separately, or attached to the large bag. It's convenient and practical. If you need to purchase the original materials kit, and receive crocheting guidance, please visit our website, www.susodiy.com, to reach the store directly. Now, let's get started. The product includes 2 bags, one large and one small, and a decorative hanging ornament. Each bag is divided into 2 parts, the main body and accessories. The main body of the large bag is divided into 2 sections, the finished product bottom and the body. The small bag's main body is crocheted as one single piece. We'll first learn the crochet method for the large bag. Let's start with how to crochet the bag body. Take a look at the chart. The bag body is crocheted by joining yarn on the bag bottom. First, work the first 2 rounds along the holes in the bag bottom. Then, continue crocheting upward in a counterclockwise spiral. This method skips the turning chains and slip stitches at the end of each round, resulting in a cleaner and more polished appearance. Holes for the drawstring are left during the last 2 rounds of crocheting. The stitch techniques used include chain stitches, single crochets, slip stitches, and double crochets. Before we begin crocheting, let's first learn the proper posture for crocheting. To make it easier to see, I'll demonstrate using thick yarn. The color is random. For specific yarn details, color schemes and hook sizes, please refer to the product detail page and printed pattern instruction. Wrap the yarn tail around your left little finger once. Then pass it between the middle finger and index finger. Next, pinch the yarn tail with your thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. The hook moves between these 2 points. Join the yarn on the bottom of the bag and crochet the first round. Face the side with the footed studs towards yourself. This is the right side of the bag bottom. Place the yarn behind any hole at the bottom of the bag. Leave a little yarn tail. Insert the hook into this hole. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise around the hook. Draw the yarn through. Pull these 2 threads to the same height as the edge of the bag bottom. The joining is completed. Next, work 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. Position the hook to the left side of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise around the hook. Draw the yarn through the loop. 1 chain stitch is done. The turning chain for the single crochet doesn't count as 1 stitch. Next, make a single crochet into the hole underneath. Insert into the hole. Weave the yarn tail for joining through above the crochet hook. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Pull it to the same level as the edge of the bag bottom. There are 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again. Pull through all loops on the hook in once. 1 single crochet is completed. You'll see 2 strands forming a V shape at the top right of the single crochet. This is the stitch of a single crochet. Continue working single crochets in the same chain space. Insert into the chain space. Keep weaving in the yarn tail for joining. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Pull it to the same level as the edge. Yarn over again. Pull through both loops on the hook in once. The second single crochet is completed. Then work into the next 2 adjacent chain spaces on the left side. Make 3 single crochets in each of the chain spaces. Then work 2 single crochets into the next chain space on the left side. Then in the next 2 chain spaces, make 3 single crochets in each. Let's take a look at the fabric piece. Treat these 3 holes as one group. Continue repeating this pattern group all the way down until before the last chain space. Now we've reached this position. Work 4 single crochets into the last chain space. Then check the stitch count. Please refer to the pattern chart for the exact number of stitches. Make sure not to have extra or missing stitches. Next, work a slip stitch in the first stitch. That is, crochet into the first chain on the left side of the yarn tail. Insert into the stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Pull through all loops on the hook in one go. A slip stitch is completed. This chain is the stitch for the slip stitch. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. We need to tighten it to avoid adding extra stitches later. The first round is completed. Now work the second round. This round needs to be crocheted on the wrong side. Turn the piece counterclockwise on the stitch on the left side of the yarn tail, which is the last stitch of the previous round. Work 1 slip stitch. The stitch for the backside single crochet is on the upper left. Insert into the stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Pull through all loops on the hook in one go. The slip stitch is completed. Note that the slip stitch here is worked normally. There is no need to tighten. This stitch is the first stitch of this round. Continue working 1 slip stitch on the left stitch. If your hands are tight, you can slightly stretch the loop. Make it a bit looser. This will be convenient for the following crocheting. Work a slip stitch into the next corresponding stitch to complete this round. The last slip stitch is worked into the first single crochet of the previous round. Don't miss it. Check the stitch count after completing. It should be the same as the first round. Count the V shape formed by the slip stitches. 1 braid represents 1 stitch. Finally, work into the braid of the first slip stitch. Join with a slip stitch. The joining slip stitch needs to be pulled tight. The second round is now completed. Next, crochet the third round. This round is worked on the right side. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Turn the work counterclockwise. You can see there are 2 rounds of braids here. The front one is the first round of single crochet stitches. The back one is the slip stitch braid. This entire round is worked into the slip stitch braids. You can see on the left side of the beginning chain there are 2 slip stitch loops, 1 larger and 1 smaller. Pick up the larger loop and work 1 single crochet stitch. This stitch also corresponds to the first single crochet of the first round. Continue with one stitch to another. Pick up the slip stitch loop, and make a single crochet to complete this round. After completing the last single crochet stitch, the third round is completed. You can see the stitches of the first round, forming a braid at the bottom of this round. Take this side as the right side of the piece. When crocheting the body later, the right side should always be facing you. Move on to the fourth round. Since the body will be crocheted in spirals from now on, you can use a piece of scrap yarn in a different color than the body. To mark the position of the first stitch of each round, place the spare yarn tail to the left of this stitch. Then work one single crochet into the left stitch. This stitch also corresponds to the first single crochet of the previous round. The marker yarn tail is at the bottom right corner of this stitch. Continue picking up the adjacent stitch on the left. Work single crochets into each stitch in sequence. Until right before the marked yarn tail. This completes the fourth round. Since it's crocheted in spirals, there will be a height difference between the beginning and ending like this, which is completely normal. Now move on to the fifth round. First, slide the marker yarn tail along the right side of the first stitch to the back of the stitch. Then directly pick up the left stitch and make a single crochet. The crochet method for the back body is quite simple. Just work single crochets into each stitch one by one, before starting each new round. Always move the marker yarn tail first. If the yarn tail is too short, you can simply pull out a bit more of the yarn tail, then remark it. This method is very straightforward. I won't demonstrate it further here. Please continue crocheting on your own until you reach the last two rounds of the bag body. Please refer to the chart for the exact number of rounds. Now that we've crocheted a few rounds on the swatch, I'll show you how to count the rounds. The fabric surface has raised textures that form concentric rings. Each texture represents one round. Avoid counting the first two rounds that have slip stitch marks in this column. Look at the top of the chain stitch from the first round. This raised ridge belongs to round 3. Round 4, round 5, round 6. We've worked 6 rounds so far. During the crocheting process, you may encounter a situation where one yarn strand isn't long enough and need to join yarn. I'll demonstrate the exact method using this swatch. Start with an incomplete single crochet stitch. Insert into the stitch. Pull the yarn through. There are 2 loops on your hook. Hang the new yarn tail on your left hand, leaving about 5 centimeters of length. Yarn over. Draw through both loops at once. Gently tighten the lower yarn tail. And that's how you join the yarn. These 2 yarn tails can be weaved in together when working the single crochet. For any future yarn joins, just follow this method. On the second to last round, we need to create a hole for the drawstring. I'll demonstrate using this small swatch. This swatch has fewer rounds and stitches. It's only meant to show the method. Starting from the ending position, first work one slip stitch on the left stitch. Bring the yarn tail over to this position as a bridge. Then make 3 chain stitches, which serves as the turning chain for the double crochet, and counts as 1 double crochet, matched to the single crochet stitch below. Then work 1 double crochet on the left stitch. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the stitch. Yarn over again, draw the yarn through. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pass through the first 2 loops. Now there are 2 loops remaining. Yarn over again, and draw through in once. 1 double crochet is completed. Then work another double crochet into the adjacent stitch on the left. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Yarn over again, draw the yarn through. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pass through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat it twice. 1, 2. Another double crochet is completed. Then work 3 chain stitches. Skip 3 stitches. Start from the 4th stitch. Crochet 3 double crochets into each corresponding stitch. Then crochet 3 chain stitches. Skip 3 stitches. Crochet 3 double crochets correspondingly. Let's take a look at the fabric piece. This round is made by skipping 3 stitches each time, and crochet 3 double crochets. Between every 3 double crochets, connect with 3 chain stitches. Each chain space forms a hole like this. Continue down following this pattern to finish this round. Finish the last 3 double crochets. Then crochet 3 chain stitches. Join with a slip stitch on the 3rd chain of the beginning chain. That means pick up 2 strands like this. To crochet a slip stitch, pull tight. The second to last round is completed. The marked yarn tail is no longer needed. You can pull it out directly. Now move on to the final round. Start by making 1 beginning chain. Then pick up the 3rd braid from the bottom of the starting chain. Crochet 1 single crochet stitch. Next, pick up the adjacent stitch on the left. Make 2 single crochets evenly. Now you've reached the chain space. Pick up the large loop and crochet 3 single crochets. Corresponding to these 3 chain stitches. Continue picking up stitches and crochet 3 single crochets. Crochet 3 single crochets into the chain space. Move to the next stitch and crochet 1 single crochet per stitch. Keep crocheting until the end of this round. Once completed, slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch. Pull tight. The last round is now done. Next, cut the yarn. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a tail of about 5 centimeters and then cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail into the wrong side of the fabric. Be sure to weave in several stitches securely. Trim off any excess yarn tails. The small sample body is now completed. Up to this point, the crochet method for the main bag body has been fully explained. Next, start making the main body of small bag. First, let's look at the chart. The chart uses our plus number to indicate rounds. The stitch instructions column shows the stitches needed when crocheting the current round, as well as where to increase or decrease. The total stitches column shows the total number of stitches after completing all the crochet techniques for that round. After finishing the main body, we'll sew and shape it. The stitches used are X for single crochet, V for SC2-in-1, and A for SC2 tog. Now please watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. I'll continue demonstrating with cotton yarn, using random color combinations. First, take a piece of waste yarn in a different color from the bag body, which will be used to mark the position of the first stitch of each round. The cast on is Mr., which means we'll start with an adjustable magic ring. Pick up the yarn tail with your right hand, and wrap it around your left index finger twice. Now there are 3 strands of yarn on your left index finger. Use your right thumb and index finger to pinch the overlapping part of the loops. Take it out, then hold the yarn in place with your left hand. Transfer the loop between your left thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Insert the hook into the loop, yarn over, pull the yarn through. There is now 1 loop on the crochet hook. Make a chain stitch to secure. The magic ring is now completed. Loosen the loop on the hook slightly to make it easier for crocheting later. Now work the first round. R1 is 6x, the number before the X tells you how many single crochets to make. This means you'll work 6 single crochets into the magic ring loop. Just insert the hook into the large space and crochet. After completing, weave the marker yarn tail into the large space. Then close the magic ring by pulling the loop tight. There are 2 loops in total. First, gently pull the starting yarn tail. 1 loop will become loose. Tighten the loose loop. Only 1 loop remains. Simply pull the yarn tail tight. The loop is now closed securely. Since we're using the spiral crochet method, you only need to follow the stitch pattern in the chart for each round. So, round 1 is now completed. Next, move on to round 2. R2 is XV times 3. Here, the parentheses indicate a group. Times number indicates how many times to repeat the pattern. First, place the marked yarn tail on the left side of the last stitch. The method is the same as marking for the large bag. I won't repeat this explanation moving forward. Then, work a single crochet in the adjacent stitch on the left. While crocheting, keep the starting yarn tail above the hook. And weave in the ends as you go along. The marked yarn tail is at the bottom right corner of the first single crochet. Then work a SC2-in-1, which means working 2 single crochets into the same stitch. The first one. The second one. The SC2-in-1 is now complete. XV is done. Let me demonstrate one more time. First, work 1 single crochet. Then work a SC2-in-1. This is the second time. Repeat XV 3 times in this round. Work 1 more single crochet and 1 SC2-in-1. Check the stitch count after completing. Start counting stitches from the last stitch all the way to the first stitch. 1, 2, 8, 9. There are 9 stitches total in this round. The total stitch count for each round is clearly marked in the corresponding chart. I won't repeat this explanation going forward. Trim off the extra yarn tail from the starting chain. Round 2 is now completed. Continue to crochet round 3. First, work 1 single crochet. Then work 1 SC2-in-1. Then work 1 single crochet. The pattern XVX is now completed. Let me demonstrate again. First, work 1 single crochet, then work 1 SC2-in-1. Continue with 1 single crochet. This is the second time. Keep crocheting using the same method as before. For the last stitch, work 1 single crochet. Round 3 is now completed. Now work round 4. First, work 1 single crochet. Then work 1 SC2-in-1. The pattern XV is now completed. Pay attention. Follow the stitch order in the chart for the increase placement. Don't adjust them randomly. Keep crocheting using the same method as before. Round 4 is now completed. From here down, rounds 5 to 23, follow the same pattern in the chart. The crocheting method is simple. All stitch techniques used have been demonstrated in detail earlier. The meaning of the increases and decreases explanation is similar to what was shown earlier. All you need to do is follow the stitch order in the chart and repeat the corresponding number of times. Let me explain this part. In the chart, rounds 13 to 14 says work even 6-6x, which means starting from round 13, make 1 single crochet in each stitch. Each round has 66 stitches. Continue crocheting until the end of round 14. When you see this format later, it means the same thing. The first stitch of every round needs to be marked, so you don't lose track of which round you're on. This is a small sample I made by working even for several rounds. Working even can cause the fabric to naturally curl. Adjust the fabric so the right side faces out. Continue downward using the method we learned earlier. Refer to the chart and complete these rounds by yourself. I won't demonstrate further. Round 24 starts with decreases. I'll use this small swatch to demonstrate the crocheting method. First, work 13 single crochets. My swatch here has fewer stitches. Then work 1 SC2 tog. Let's take a look. There are two strands of the stitch. The one closer to you is called the front loop, and the other is the back loop. First, insert into the front loop of the first stitch, then into the front loop of the left stitch. There are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, and draw through the first 2 loops. Now there are 2 loops left. Yarn over again, and draw through in once. A SC2 tog is completed. This method of picking up only the front loops for decreases is called an invisible decrease. When crocheting with this technique, the gaps between stitches are smaller. The fabric looks more delicate overall. Next, work 10 single crochets. One 3x, 1 0x is done. Let me demonstrate once again. First, make 13 single crochets. Then work 1 SC2 tog. Insert the hook through the front loops of the next 2 adjacent stitches on the left side. Yarn over. Draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat it twice. Once. Twice. A SC2 tog is completed. Then work 10 single crochets. The stitch pattern inside the parentheses is completed once again. Continue crocheting following the previous method. Round 24 is now completed. The remaining stitches are quite simple. You can follow the chart to complete them. For the last 2 rounds, refer to the pattern chart for the crochet method. Fasten off the yarn normally after completing. The method is quite simple, so I won't demonstrate it here. Once the main part is completed, we need to sew and shape the small bag. We'll use leftover yarn from the small bag. I'll demonstrate using this sample swatch. The color scheme is random. Turn the bag body to the wrong side. Fold it at any position. Position the bottom of the bag facing right. Insert the hook into the first round's adjacent 2 holes from the fold position. Join the yarn properly. Then pick up the adjacent 2 holes on the left side. Crochet slip stitches along the fold position. Crochet 9 slip stitches like this. My sample has fewer stitches here. Then skip 1 hole. Slip stitch. Into each of the next 2 spaces. Work 7 stitches. Then skip 2 holes in the middle. And crochet 8 slip stitches. Next, gradually and evenly reduce the number of skipped holes. Finish with a slip stitch worked into 2 adjacent holes. Once done, fasten off the yarn normally. Hide the yarn tails at the beginning and end. Turn the bag right side out. Then apply blush to the area below the tip and the indented parts. The shaping of the small bag is now completed. Up to this point, the crochet method for the main part of the small bag is now complete. Once the main body is completed, proceed to make the accessories for the larger bag, which including the drawstring, peaches, leaves, D-ring and strap. Let's start with crocheting the peach. First take a look at the finished product. It also starts with a magic ring. Using the spiral crochet method, just follow the stitch pattern in the chart to crochet. Stuffing needs to be done before the last 2 rounds are crocheted. Finally, cut the yarn, close up and shape it. No new stitches are used. The method is quite simple. Please complete the crocheting before the last 2 rounds of the peach on your own. After finishing the third to last round, it's time to stuff it. I'll use this small swatch to demonstrate how to stuff. Fluff up the stuffing material first, then stuff it in. A crochet hook can be used to help with this. Once it's roughly firm enough, gently pinch the curve of the fabric. Adjust the shape as needed. That's how you stuff it. Continue crocheting following the stitch pattern in the chart. The last round is a continuous SC2 tog, hooking each stitch in sequence. Based on the methods you've learned earlier, refer to the chart, and finish these 2 rounds on your own. I won't demonstrate further. Once the last round is completed, proceed to break the yarn. Leave a yarn tail of about 40 centimeters before cutting the yarn. Simply pull the yarn tail through and tighten it. The fasten off is completed. Then thread the yarn tail onto a darning needle. Pick up the front loop of each stitch in the last round one by one. Then pull tight all at once. Press the closing area flat. The closing is now completed. The marked yarn tail can be removed directly. Next, it's time to shape the peach. Insert the hook into any stitch of round 4. Come out through the center of the closing. Pull tight. Then insert into the same stitch of round 4 again. Match up with the corresponding column. Exit through the stitch of round 2. Pull tight. Insert back into the same stitch of round 4 again. Come out through the center of the closing. Pull tight. Then follow the texture of the crochet work. Go in and out a few times at any position on the peach. Trim off any excess yarn tails. The shaping of the peach is now done. Next, apply the blush to the area just below the tip of the peach and around the indentation. That's how the blush is done. Up to this point, the demonstration of how to make the peach is now completed. Crochet the required number of peaches using this method. Please refer to the printed pattern instruction for the exact quantity. I will not repeat the demonstration. Next, we'll crochet the drawstring for the large bag. Take out the corresponding yarn. I'll continue using cotton yarn for the demonstration. Choose a random color scheme. Start with a foundation chain. Leave a yarn tail of about 10 centimeters. Hold the yarn in your left hand. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Position it underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn around counterclockwise. Use your left thumb and middle finger to pinch the crossing point of the loop. Place the hook on the left side of the yarn. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Slightly tighten. Move on to crochet chain stitches. Please refer to the paper diagram for the exact number of stitches. After completion, take out a peach and join with a slip stitch at the center of the closing, where the indented end is. Insert the hook into the center. Come out at any base position of this round. Pull the yarn through and complete the slip stitch. Then pick up a strand from the top of the chain stitch loop. Work one single crochet in each stitch. Until all the braids are crocheted. Once done, simply stretch the loop. Leave a 1/5 centimeter yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Slightly tighten it. The drawstring is now finished. Next, attach the drawstring to the main body of the bag. Take the bag body. Place the first 2 rounds of slip stitch marks on the wrong side of the bag. Make sure the right side is facing you. Insert from any hole on the front side. Exit through the adjacent hole on the left. Insert into the next hole. Continue down using this method. Pass through all the holes one by one. Finally come out through the right side hole of the 3 double crochet stitches. The drawstring is now attached. Next, on the empty end of the drawstring, attach another bugles. Thread the reserved yarn tail of the drawstring into a sewing needle. Sew the drawstring into the center of the peach where it's closed up. Be sure to sew through several times to secure it well. Once done, tie both yarn ends into double knots. Hide each end inside the peach. The peach is now attached. Up to this point, the creation and attachment of the drawstring have been explained. Next, we will crochet the leaves. Let's take a look at the finished product. There are 2 different types of leaves. The large leaves are attached to the bag body, and the small leaves are attached to the peaches and ornaments. Both are made using the foundation chain method. Crocheting starts from the foundation chain, working in rounds counterclockwise. The number of stitches and rounds varies. The new stitch techniques used are half double crochets and a CH3SL picot. Now, let me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. First, I will demonstrate how to crochet the small leaf. I will continue using chunky yarn for the demonstration. The colors are random. First, start with a foundation chain. Crochet 8 chain stitches. The casting on is completed. Next, work on the first round. Start by making 1 chain as your beginning chain, then, on the last chain of the cast on, which is the second chain from the left. Work 1 single crochet. The front side of the chain looks like a V-shaped loop. Insert the hook into the top loop of the chain and crochet the single crochet. Then, work 1 single crochet into the adjacent braid on the left. Next, work 1 half double crochet into the following braid. Yarn over. Insert. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again. Pull through all loops on the hook. 1 half double crochet is completed. Next, work 3 double crochets. Then, work 1 half double crochet. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over again. Pull through all 3 loops at once. The second half double crochet is completed. Now there's 1 chain stitch left on this braid. First work 2 single crochets. Then make a CH3SL picot. Start with 3 chain stitches. Next, on the first chain stitch loop, pick up both top strands and make 1 slip stitch. One picot is completed. Continue by working 1 single crochet into the chain stitch where the single crochet was made. Then pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain stitch. Work 1 half double crochet correspondingly. Don't forget to secure the finishing tails. Next, work 3 double crochets. 1/2 double crochet, and 2 single crochets. Then secure with a chain stitch. Leave about 15 centimeters of yarn tail, and then cut it off. If there is any remaining starting yarn tail, cut it directly. One small leaf is completed. Continue crocheting the remaining small leaves using this method. Please refer to the printed pattern instruction for the exact number. I won't repeat the demonstration. Next, attach the small leaf to the drawstring. Let's see the finished product. Leaves are attached above the indentation, at the base of the peach, near the end of the drawstring. I'll use this swatch to demonstrate the sewing method. Thread the reserved yarn tail of the small leaf through a yarn needle. First insert it into the left stitch. Then go through the drawstring near the base of the fruit. I'm using this swatch to demonstrate. The shape of the swatch is random, just showing the method. Then insert it through the middle of the secured chain stitch. Slightly tighten it. Make sure the right side of the small leaf is facing up, the wrong side should face the fruit. You can sew it again to secure it in place. Then attach the base of the leaf to the fruit. Please refer to the paper diagram for exact positioning. Then tie a double knot on the backside of the leaf. Weave in the ends. The small leaf is now attached. The crocheting method for the large leaf is similar to that of the small leaf. Let's look at the finished product. We will start with a foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise from the starting chain. No new stitch techniques are used. Next, I'll demonstrate the specific crocheting method. First, work the corresponding number of chain stitches as the starting point. Then chain 1 to begin. Follow the chart and crochet up to the last chain space. Now we've reached this position. Work 1 single crochet into this chain stitch, followed by 3 chain stitches and 1 single crochet. Next, pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain. Crochet symmetrical stitches until the last chain space. Work 1/2 double crochet into this chain space. Round 1 is now completed. Next, crochet round 2. Directly pick up the first stitch from the previous round, which is the left side stitch. Work 1 slip stitch. Then correspond 1 by 1. Work 2 slip stitches. Next, crochet single crochets until before these 3 chain stitches. Now you've reached this position. Pick up the chain space and work 3 single crochets. Then continue picking up stitches to crochet single crochets until before these 4 single crochets. Next, work 1 single crochet and 3 slip stitches. Finally, at the half double crochet stitch, work 1 slip stitch. Enlarge the loop. Leave a yarn tail about 15 centimeters long. Cut it off. Thread the needle with the yarn tail. Come out through the adjacent stitch. Then insert into the middle of the slip stitch, which is the stitch where the yarn tail is. Slightly tighten it. After finishing the yarn tail like this, there's no visible mark on the surface. Leave the yarn tail for now. The leaf is completed. Next, attach the large leaf to the main body of the bag. I'll use this swatch to demonstrate. Stitch count is random, just demonstrating the method. Attach the leaves to the front side of the bag, on the right side of the hole where the drawstring comes out, and below any double crochet and hole underneath. Mindful that the right side of the leaf faces outward. The wrong side faces the bag body. No specific sewing method required. Sew this end of the leaf to this position. Secure it firmly. After done, tie a double knot. Weave in the ends. Trim off the excess. This completes the installation of the large leaf. Next, sew D-rings onto both sides of the bag body. The starting position for inserting the drawstring is at the middle of the right side. Install the D-rings on both sides of the bag body, about 7 centimeters away from the top edge. I'll use this swatch to demonstrate. Use the remaining yarn from crocheting the bag body for sewing. My color choice here is random. Cut a piece of yarn about 60 centimeters long. Thread the needle. Come out through the corresponding position on the inside of the bag body. Leave a tail at the back. Sew from right to left. Then sew back in the opposite direction. After sewing, tie a double knot with the beginning and ending tails. Weave in the ends by yourself. One D-ring is now securely attached. Fix the other D-ring using the same method. Note that the positions of the two D-rings must be symmetrical. I won't demonstrate this part here. Next, attach the strap directly onto the D-ring. Up to this point, the making method of the large bag accessories is completed. Next, I will explain the making method of the small bag accessories. Take a look at the finished product. The accessories include a drawstring and large leaves. The leaves are sewn onto the right side of the double crochet stitch below the indentation, using the same method as for the large bag leaves. I won't demonstrate this part here. Now, please watch me demonstrate the crocheting method of the drawstring. I will use this swatch to show you how to make and install the drawstring. The swatch is crocheted with solid color yarn. The stitch pattern is random, just demonstrating the method. Take out the corresponding yarn. First, work the required number of chain stitches. Please refer to the paper instructions for details, or crochet to the desired length according to your needs. Then attach the chain stitch drawstring to the bag body. Insert the hook through the right side hole above the leaf. From the end where you started casting on. Skip one hole. Then exit through the next hole. Skip another hole. Then insert into the next hole. Follow this method, and go all the way around the circle. Finally exit through the second hole to the left of the insertion point. Turn the wrong side of the braid towards you. Fold both sides in half towards the middle. Be mindful not to twist the braid. Pick up one strand of yarn from the top of the first braid and join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. The cast on is now completed. Chain 1 to begin. Then work one slip stitch corresponding to each stitch. After crocheting a few stitches, pull out the remaining chain loop. The end with the slip stitch has already been hooked. Stuff into the hole of the bag body. Then continue crocheting slip stitches until this round is completed. When nearly finishing the round, if the chain twists, adjust the drawstring on the left side, and straighten out the chain loop. Then continue crocheting. After finishing the crocheting, join with a slip stitch in the first slip stitch chain. Pull tight. Fasten off the yarn normally. Tie a double knot with the beginning and ending yarn tails. Hide all the yarn tails neatly on your own. So, the drawstring for the small bag is made and attached. Next, let's make the ornament. Take a look at the finished product. The ornament includes leaves, peaches and a drawstring. First, crochet the required number of leaves and bugles separately. Then crochet the drawstring. The method for crocheting the drawstring is the same as the one used for the big bag's drawstring. Start by chaining the required number of chains. Then attach the bugle at the ending position. Then work back by crocheting slip stitches. When reaching the branching position, first crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. Attach another peach. Then crochet slip stitches back. Continue crocheting forward to complete the remaining branches. Finally, sew on the small leaves. The method is the same as the previous attaching method. The specific positions for the drawstring branches and small leaves, you can refer to the finished product or paper pattern. The method is simple, so I won't demonstrate it. The ornament can be attached to the D-ring like this. Up to this point, the crochet method for this bag with pouch is now complete. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.